What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're going to be doing another episode of the How Good Is series. This is a series where we look at weapons, sometimes other things, and decide exactly how good they are in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 to make you a better Call of Duty player. Now, today we're going to be looking at one of the weirdest weapons in the game, the P-06. Now, this weapon is a very, very odd sniper rifle, and you may be wondering, why are we looking at this weapon? Well, I asked you guys on Twitter what you wanted to see. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, it's the best way to stay updated to everything to do with this channel and everything to do with my life. And if you're like Dylan Chill here, he really wanted to see the P-06, so I decided to do that one today. Now, this weapon has some of the weirdest stats and weirdest properties in Black Ops 3. So there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it and start looking at the stats for this weapon. So as far as this weapon goes, it's a 3-round burst sniper rifle, which is very odd for a sniper rifle. But how does this work as a sniper rifle? Well, first of all, the 3-round burst, every single bullet deals 90 damage. So every time you pull that trigger, you are dealing 270 damage, which is incredibly high, considering with the Locust, whenever you pull that trigger, it's going to be dealing 95 damage plus headshot multipliers and all that stuff. So the P-06 is going to be a 1 to 2 bullet kill. However, this weapon fires so quickly, it's very rare for you to get any more than a 1 burst kill. What I mean by this is that every time you pull that trigger, bullets are coming out of this weapon so fast, these 3 bullets, that if you hit 1 bullet, you're most likely going to hit all 3 bullets. And with dealing 270 damage per 3 bullets, you're always going to kill that person. I found it very rare to have to hit someone with more than 1 burst. The only time that it would actually happen is if I would shoot at someone and only the last bullet would hit them. So in other words, I was just getting on to target at the very end of the burst and only the last bullet would hit them, the rest would miss. That was the only time. If you hit that first bullet, pretty much all the bullets are going to hit because they come out of this weapon at 600 RPM. Now this may seem like a slow fire rate, and it kind of is for a burst fire weapon, but remember, this weapon is a sniper rifle and kills people really quickly. If you hit 1 bullet, you're going to hit all 3 and it's going to kill them. Now, overall, when you incorporate the burst delay, which is the amount of time in between 3 bullet bursts, you are looking at something more like a 171 RPM, but that's including the burst delay. You don't really need to include that. All you need to know is the bullets come out of the weapon at 600 RPM, and then there is a 700 millisecond delay, which is huge. That's an insane burst delay. So we're going to talk about a best class setup in a bit, but rapid fire, it actually decreases that burst delay and is a very solid choice. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. So moving on, we can see the weird stats there, but it gets weirder when we look at some other stuff. So as far as damage and fire rate go, the one thing I forgot to mention is that with this weapon, it actually has a charge up time. And what I mean by that is before the first 3 rounds come out of this weapon, there is this short little delay. I'm not exactly sure if it's the same as the burst delay. It feels exactly the same. So I'm guessing around 700 milliseconds it takes to charge up and actually fire this weapon. Like it's kind of like an energy weapon, even though it's not. It does have this weird charge up time, so that also makes it difficult to kill someone because the aim needs to be there throughout that whole charge up time, because if you have that wrong, your shots just aren't going to be on target. So you gotta get used to that charge up time. But overall, that's not the only weird stat on this weapon. The reason why I say it's weird is because with this weapon, it being a burst action weapon, whenever I use it, I feel like I should be using it as an assault rifle. And you cannot have that mentality. Why, you ask? Because the rest of the stats do not support it being a burst action assault rifle. They completely support it being a burst action sniper rifle. What do I mean by this? Starting off, look at the aim down sights time. The aim down sights time is 0.366 seconds, which isn't the worst in class, but if you try to use this as an assault rifle, it takes forever to aim down sights, more than 1/3 of a second, which just does not support the idea of using this as an assault rifle. The same thing kind of goes when you look at the amount of aim assist on this weapon. Mathematically and stat-wise, there is aim assist, but it's so minuscule, it's null and void. Like, there's no point in even saying this weapon has aim assist on it because you just don't notice it. It doesn't help you in the slightest. Whereas all the assault rifles have this aim assist, which helps you lock onto target. So really, I would say there's no aim assist. So with no aim assist and a very, very long aim down sights time, it makes it next to impossible to use a thing as an assault rifle. You have to look at this as a sniper rifle. You want to keep your distance, and you want to make sure you are hitting as many bullets as possible, just like any other sniper rifle, because as soon as you miss bullets, just like the Locust, just like the SVG, it makes that time to kill very long, because remember, 700 millisecond burst delay, that's a long time, it's almost a full second. Now, going back, looking at the magazine size on the P-06 is 15 rounds. It seems like a lot for a sniper rifle. It's not, because remember, every time you pull the trigger, 3 rounds come out of the weapon, which means really you have 5 trigger pulls in a magazine. You can add extended mags onto this, and this would bump you up to 21 rounds. This bumps it up to 7 trigger pulls. A little bit better, you're going to have to reload a little bit less, and actually a pretty viable attachment, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But overall, the magazine size, you're going to need to reload a lot, so that brings us then to the next stat, which is reload speed. And the reload speed isn't horrible on this weapon. When we look at most of the sniper rifles in this game, you're looking at upwards of 3 seconds. This one's 2.9 seconds. The only one less than this is the Draken at 2.5 seconds. So overall, remember, this weapon is a sniper rifle. It's not an assault rifle. You're not going to be able to rush around like this. In fact, I find this weapon very, very hard to use, mainly because I'm not a great sniper, but also the no aim assist mixed with a very long burst delay makes it difficult to use. However, when you get bullets on a person, that person is going to die. Now, what is a best class setup? What kind of things do you want to be using with this weapon? So for this, I'm going to give you the class setup that I use. Now, I am not a sniper. I do not do well sniping. I am not that amazing as a sniper. So this class is kind of based on the way I use this weapon, and I use this weapon a little faster than most people. I don't totally use it as a sniper rifle, but I don't totally not use it as a sniper rifle. Now, the main thing with this weapon is I like to use a sidearm for when I get in close gunfights because of the incredibly slow aim down sights time, and this thing has a huge hip spread. Therefore, when I'm up close and personal with someone, I really like to have a sidearm. In this case, what you're seeing today is me use the Marshall because it is a beast up close, and I'm using a weapon that's a beast at long range. Therefore, I can be good at both ranges. It really helps me out. So I'd suggest using a sidearm. On top of that, there's really 3 attachments you're going to want to use. First of all, the base scope that comes with this weapon, probably the best scope that comes with it. I fooled around with the Varix a little bit to get used to like the kind of different ranges you can use with the Varix. It's good, but with the base scope, it actually makes it so that 2 things. It shows you when someone's in your target, and it actually helps you with the charge up time because there's a little indicator that shows you how long the burst delay is going to last and how long it takes to shoot that next burst, which actually is a little bit helpful. So I just suggest using the primary scope. The 3 attachments I'd suggest using are suppressor because it doesn't hinder this weapon at all, because there's only 1 range and 1 damage profile on this weapon. It doesn't change anything. It just makes it so you stay off the radar. On top of that, rapid fire is alright. It's not amazing on this weapon like it is on other sniper rifles, but on this weapon, it decreases the burst delay by about 8%, which is about 56 milliseconds. So it's not perfect, and it's not the best attachment ever, but it's alright. And then also extended mags are good because it gives you 2 extra bursts, and that's gonna save you every once in a while in the game. So those are the 3 attachments I'd suggest using. You can kind of choose between the 3. As far as perks goes, kind of personal preference. I was using Ghost and Sixth Sense because it was really important for me to know when someone was up close and personal with me, because with this weapon I liked switching out to that Marshall or my pistol. Then I could kill them because I would be up close and personal, and if I didn't know they were coming, I'd be stuck with my P-06 out, and I really struggled with the P-06 at close range. On top of that, I used Fast Hands, and finally Blast Suppressor. Blast Suppressor is really good. It always keeps you off the map. Fast Hands, I was sprinting around way too much with this weapon. I wouldn't suggest fast hands. You shouldn't be sprinting all the time with this weapon. If anything, all the fast hands did for me is helped me when I was using the Marshall or my pistol. So probably not fast hands. You can switch in some grenades or shock charges or something like that for it instead. But overall, this weapon isn't fantastic. It's good, and some people say it's overpowered. Why do they say it's overpowered? The time to kill on it is absolutely fantastic, and because of that, people think it's really, really good. But in fact, it does actually take some skill to use this weapon. With a very, very low amount of aim assist, that's almost nothing at all, and on top of that, extremely slow aim down sights time, you have to have good aim with this weapon, and that makes it so it has this really interesting skill gap with it, and doesn't make it too easy to use, because if this thing had aim assist, it would be overpowered. It would be 100% overpowered, and it doesn't, and that's nice to see, and I think this is a balanced weapon, but out of 10, I would probably give it something like a 6, maybe even a 5, because it is extremely, extremely hard to use, fun to use, and when you get kills, it feels awesome, but overall, it's probably like a 5, maybe a 6. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and if you've made it this far in the video, it'd be super, super greatly appreciated if you could leave a like rating, as it does really help out the channel. Speaking of the channel, if you are new to the channel, it'd be absolutely fantastic if you'd hit that subscribe button. We are ever closing down on that 100,000 subscriber mark, which is just mind-blowing. It would be great if you could hit that subscribe button. I upload new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love every single one of you. Check out my Twitch and Twitter down in the description. And until next time, guys, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.